welcome to another episode of the Party Football Podcast, the podcast about all things Premier League. If you are new around here, please do like the content and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out. So, here's a quick look at what's coming up this week. We're going to be previewing all of matchweek 26 action in the Premier League, including Newcastle's trip to the Emirates, where the Gunners are going to be looking for revenge against Eddie Howe's men after a controversial defeat last time out. We'll also be looking forward to all the action at Old Trafford, where Manchester United would look to continue this impressive start to 2024. As well as Manchester City's trip to Bournemouth, as Pep Guardiola's men look to keep the pressure on league leaders Liverpool. As well as all the action in match week 26 in the Premier League, so strap yourselves in, it's going to be a good one. Alright lads, starting out at Villa Park, Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Aston Villa have lost the last 3 games at home now. They were obviously stellar at home for the majority of the season. Then kind of just around Christmas time after the new year, they've hit somewhat of a slump. Obviously, they won against Fulham there last week, 2-1. And like I said, 3 losses at home in a row. This is a game, I don't know, maybe a tricky game for them. Obviously, we've seen the reverse fixture. They went to Nottingham Forest, they lost 2-0. Could be another upset.
Villa have been fairly sporadic the last few games. As like you said, particularly at home, that loss against United was probably quite telling on in their current form anyway. The way that United were able to kind of in patches play apart from the midfield area. Like there's one thing that Villa do well, they do control the midfield very well, but the other areas in the pitch defensively they look very they're not sound at all. Since they lost Pau Torres, they've really kind of been vulnerable at the back. Now they're missing Konsa as well, so I think maybe Pau Torres is back, but they were key components for that Aston Villa team, especially at the start of the season. So I think now it has to be a vital time for Villa to get a result, because if they want that European spot, they have to start or the Champions League spot, they need to start pulling these home wins back out of the bag. Otherwise, they're going to be in big trouble. They'll be back down to Europa League.
Yeah, Adam, speaking of big trouble, Nottingham Forest have only 1 win in 5 games. They are 4 points above relegation, but they seem to be kind of falling into this relegation battle, this trap, I guess. They're still buying players, but, they kind of have improved somewhat in the last couple of games, a couple of draws. Like I said, only 1 win, though, but, they kind of do need to start picking up points.
Yeah, look, they're okay. They're just an okay team, and that's it. Are they good enough to survive relegation? I'd say so. But with the points deduction looming and everything, I don't know. I think probably this time next year they'll be in the Championship. You can't keep buying just these random players and just hope. It's like throwing shit at a wall and hope it sticks, to be honest. That seems how it's going right now for them. And it's just a matter of if they can stay up. I think they will be fine in the end. But it's games like Saturday, you need to be kind of stealing the draw and kind of hoping it works out if you want to stay up.
So we'll go predictions for that game. Ocean, start with you.
It'll be, the way the Forest are playing now, I wouldn't be surprised if they got a result. So I'm going to say draw, probably 1-1.
Right, Adam?
3-1 to Villa.
Rob?
I was going to say 3-1 myself, yeah. To Villa, of course.
Yeah, I think 2-1 Villa. Good, guys.
Yeah, I think 2-1 Villa as well. I think it'll be a lot closer than maybe people think, yeah. So next up, Amex Stadium, Brighton at home to Everton. Johnny, start with you here. Brighton are 9 games unbeaten at home in the Premier League, and in comparison, Everton are just they're not picking up points. To stick with Brighton just for a second, now their home form, they need to keep pace with like United, West Ham, I guess, or who are not in great form. But that whole little pack between like 10th and 7th or 6th, they need to kind of keep pace with those and keeping the hunt for European places.
Yeah, I think it's more so about sorting out their own form first and then not be worrying about everyone else above them. Brighton are a team who have been very hot and very cold. Coming back, like you said, the home form 9 in a row, looking pretty good. over the last while at home. It's more so now just putting a solid run of games together now.
Yeah.
Back up a few back-to-back wins, even a couple of clean sheets back-to-back would do them massive amount of confidence.
Rob, speaking of confidence, just apparently at Everton there seems to be none. They've no wins in 8, only 4 draws, so 4 points in 8 games. They're firmly in that relegation battle. They need to start picking up points.
But they're having chances. Like they missed some good chances against Crystal Palace. Even though they got the late equaliser, it's more of a 2 points lost instead of a 1 point game. I think, anyways, they might see it differently, just with the chances they missed. But look, they've been hit with 2 deductions already. They shouldn't be down there still, but they're still fighting well. Like, this is a game where they're almost guaranteed to score, but so are Brighton. Like, so it's about like who's gonna outscore who. I did not expect that stat of Brighton being unbeaten at home in 9 games. That's pretty mad. It's going to be an interesting game, very interesting game.
Well, give me your predictions there, so we'll jump in straight in.
Everton's away form at the start of the season was pretty good, and it still kind of kept going throughout. Wouldn't be surprised if they got a result, but I'd say 3-2 Brighton. I think it'd be a relatively high scoring game. Set pieces are the big thing for Everton. Yeah,
definitely. Johnny?
I'm going to go with 2-1 Everton.
2-1. Sorry, Adam.
2-2, because Brighton are very open. Kind of like Marco Bielsa's Leeds, in a way.
Just like them.
Yeah, I think Everton might
just like them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I do see similarities there. Oisin?
Given Brighton's home form, I can't see anything other than a Brighton win. So 3-0.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I don't know. It's hard to know which kind of Brighton team will show up. So I'm just gonna go 2-1 Brighton. I think they'll keep going. I think more misery on Everton. More pressure on Sean Dyche. Who knows? All right, then. Big game down at the bottom of the table. Crystal Palace at home to Burnley. Oisin, starting with you. Crystal Palace are going to be hoping for that new manager bounce because they need to turn their fortunes around big time.
Oh, that's 100%. Yeah, like they've got a decent coach in Oliver Glasner. He's a Europa League winger at Frankfurt. So he has that winning pedigree. Obviously, given the circumstances that happened around Roy Hodgson are fairly unfortunate, but they weren't going anywhere. They were hitting a rush, and not even the one. They were hitting multiple rush. So they need to do something. Of course, they're still missing Elise. They're still missing Eze, but they still have the players good enough to get a result, especially against this Burnley time, because they are woeful. They are not the Burnley side that any of us expected after coming up from the Championship. So, like, they need a result. They need to start getting results, especially home games. Even against the sides in and around the same area, because if they lose this game against Burnley, you can pretty much guarantee that they will be, given the circumstances, of course, of the Everton and Nottingham Forest, whatever charges they're due to be faced. But take that out of consideration. They need to start winning these home games against teams in and around where they are. Otherwise, they're in serious trouble.
Yeah, Rob, speaking of serious trouble, we've seen Burnley lose 5-0 to Arsenal there last weekend. Just like a nothing performance from them. Like, I don't know, Company could be in huge trouble if he doesn't start picking up results because they are on the way down.
I'd like to see him get sacked just because of how he acted. Like, I thought it'd be harder. But at the same time, it's not just a 1 or 2 year project. I'm sure, like the way they're playing football, trying to play football, I don't think it's the biggest thing in the world for them to go down if they keep them on. I think Jonathan alluded to it a few episodes ago, where some teams, they'll come back up, but it's not the worst thing to go back down again, and build up again, then come back up. So it's a tough league this year. Like, there's a lot of decent teams. Like, some years there's only like 4 or 5 good teams, and the rest of it fucking shite. Oh, excuse my French. I was supposed to give up cursing for Lent. Oops, I didn't do so good last week either. But like it's not the worst thing in the world. Like if they go down, as much as I would like to see Company get sacked. Now Burnley, don't get me wrong, are terrible. As much as we've given out about Sheffield and that, and Bournemouth at the start, and Chelsea, who are always ass. Burnley are worse and terrible. They got dogged by Arsenal, much as a couple of teams have been dogged by Arsenal recently. Surely Palace will get a win this weekend. Surely.
Yeah, right. Well, jump into your predictions there.
2-0 Palace.
2-0 Palace. Adam.
1-0 Palace.
Oisin.
I'm going to agree with Rob on this. I can see a 2-0 Palace in this one.
Johnny.
Yeah, 2-0 Palace.
Yeah, I got to go.
Just before. Sorry, go on ahead then. Then I've
go clean sweep Palace. Yeah, 2-0 probably. All right, then next up to Old Trafford. Man United be looking to continue their good run of form in 2024. Johnny, starting with you. Yeah, 5 unbeaten for United, 4 wins in a row since the draw at home to Spurs. Yeah, this should be another win that they could target in the chase for top 4.
Yeah, we've hit a bit of form at the perfect time. We're still not playing fantastic. I think at times we're playing electric football. The first 15 minutes against Luton, in a place where a lot of things have found tough to go, we blew them away, but then we kind of fell back into our shell as we've done this season. So we've been really Jekyll and Hyde this season. At times we've been fantastic, other times been very, very poor. So like a sixth game undefeated and a 5th win in a row would be fantastic for us, just to really keep more on.
Yeah. Adam, like we talked about Rasmus Højlund at the start of the season. Obviously he was getting a lot of slack. He wasn't scoring, but now, yeah, he's just 6 and 5. The youngest player to score 6 in a row.
7 and 5.
7 and 6.
7
and 6. Yeah.
Sorry, Rob. Yeah, Adam. So yeah, he's literally kind of just sprung into life at the right time.
Yeah, look, I think most United fans would tell you, like, even when he was struggling, we all kind of knew what we were seeing every week. We knew there was a striker there. We knew there was a player there who had it all, and we were just waiting for the goals to come. And it's not just that he's scoring. Like, it seems that every goal is a different type of goal, and that's what you need from a striker. Like, you kind of need a striker that can do a bit of everything, and it's just good to see because everyone likes him. And he's a good guy.
Yeah, but as Adam said there, like we did say it, like even yourself, Dan, you kind of said it as well. He's making the good runs. He had the prospect of a good player. Now he still is just banging, like he's in good form, but he just wasn't getting the chances, and still isn't really getting many chances. Like he's still feeding off, not necessarily scraps. He did a little bit better than that, but still doing well.
Yeah,
still playing with big greedy players as well, like very greedy players.
Definitely. Oisin, quickly now, you know a lot of backroom changes and shake-ups going on at United. You know, it's going to be an exciting time over the next kind of a year and a half, 2 years for United.
Yeah, I think you're bringing this to me because I was wrecking all your heads with all the stuff last night. And look, last night was huge.
4 years.
Quarter past 9 last night, I was absolutely hounding Twitter to make sure this announcement. So look, it's a huge moment for the club. 27.7 minority single investor, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and like that could go up to 29.31 by the end of the year. Look, it's huge news. Like they're targeting the best players. They got Omar Barada from Man City from a CEO to make them a new CEO. They're obviously targeting Dan Ashworth. I think, as my understanding goes, that an agreement has been made or will be made public that it'll be around the 12 million mark. Gardening leave that was originally set for 20 months will probably be until the start of July, which is a lot better, you know, give or take a week or two. But it's huge. Like, it's what it could do for the club, both commercially, is massive, because United will now be seen as a structure that will develop to a further capacity for commercial revenue. That stadium, the Greater Manchester area in terms of South Manchester, where Old Trafford is built, they're planning now to develop Old Trafford to a 5-district area. It's going to be huge. They're bringing in the right people. If they get Dan Ashford, they have a few more managers to get, or not managers, but kind of hierarchy to get in before they really get the summer going. They're probably going to get their transfers in early. Something tells me that the way that these guys will do their business will get in before the preseason. That's what we've lacked. You look at last season, I don't even think we got one player before our preseason started. We got Onana midway through our preseason, so that'll change. So it's a huge day for Man United. And look, he's going to get things wrong, but the way he's going about it now, he's doing everything right. So long may it continue. But the only thing is now, as he said today in an interview, the team needs to perform on the pitch. That's their job now. Nothing can be done until the summer. At the moment of time, it needs to be done on the pitch. United need to get the fucking finger out their arses and get performing. They're doing really well lately. They just keep it up now. That City game in 2 weeks' time is huge. They get a result out of that game, that'll change the capacity for the rest of their season 100%.
Excellent. All right. Right,
openers,
predictions.
opening games.
Johnny, predictions.
2-0 United.
Oshin.
Yeah, I think no, we can see the lot. I'll say 2-1 again. It'll 2-1.
Adam
3-1.
and Rob.
Yeah, I think 3-1. I think it'll be a tricky enough game because every game for us is tricky. We make it so hard for ourselves, but I have in a midfield necessarily still. So there's no balance. No midfield, just vibes. 3-1 United.
Yeah, I think United probably will win. It'll be a lot closer, I think, but probably 2-1 or 1-0, I think, for United. All right, next up then, Vitality Stadium, Bournemouth at home to Man City. Johnny, start with you quickly. City have scored 31 goals against Bournemouth in the last 10 games, won every single game, obviously. City haven't been playing the best. We obviously seen them against Brentford yesterday, Tuesday. They won 1-0, Haaland getting back to scoring goals, but they didn't seem like to be all that. Even against Chelsea, they were still a bit wasteful. They just didn't seem to be hitting third gear even.
No, it's funny because when De Bruyne came back just around Christmas time, we thought this is it now. They're going to kick on. They put a few results together, but this is kind of how they've been all season. Very, like you said, not able to shift up through the gears. But that could have a lot to do with they played a lot of games last season. I know they go so far in each tournament, 60 odd games. It does play a factor in the legs. I think that's what you've seen for a number of times this season, even with the quality of their squad. Look, I think they definitely have more than enough to beat Bournemouth at the weekend. I don't think that's going to be an issue. But it's going forward when you see, like when Arsenal are kicking into form, Liverpool, of course, winning tonight. I think it's the legs more so, as in they're victims of their own success, really, is what I'm trying to say. That's probably why they're not being in the third or fourth gear. Anyway, as of the middle of February. So let's come back in a couple of weeks and let's see where they are. Yeah. Adam, on the other side of that, we've seen Bournemouth go to St. James's Park and draw 2-2. Probably should have won that game, in my opinion, anyways. But they've only one loss in the last 6 home games, so it could be a tricky game for City.
Yeah. Look, City's defense is looking kind of shaky, and someone like Solanke at the moment is going to be licking his lips looking at them. But then again, that's not to say City can turn around and win 3 or 4-0. Like, you can't.
5, 6.
Yeah, like it's hard to know. Like, it depends what type of Bournemouth shows up. It depends what type of City shows up as well. Like, you were just talking about City kind of getting out third or fourth gear, but at the same time, they're only a point for Liverpool. 4 with a game in hand.
Yeah, 4 now because Liverpool won this evening. So 4 points off.
So, like, they're still fairly in there, like, and they haven't even hit second or third gear. And it's all it takes is for someone like Bournemouth to either come be a banana skin or be a sacrificial lamb. And I have a feeling it's going to be a sacrifice for Bournemouth.
All right, okay. So go with your prediction, so Adam.
I think it's going to be 4-0 to City.
4-0 City. Johnny.
3-1 City. City pull away later on.
Oshin.
I'm going to go for an upset. I'm going to say 2-1 Bournemouth because of fuck City.
I hope. I'm going to agree exactly with Oshin. Just in that topic of not really, I know I shouldn't be talking. It's not my topic, but I think City have been playing well apart from the last 3 games, and Brentford, as poorly as they have been playing this season, they still put up to City fairly well for the 2 games, and then of course Chelsea decided to play well again. So it's only been the last 3 games that City have kind of struggled. And bad goals for Brentford to concede. Like, so
they do have a tough March coming up. I know that we always talk about tough fixtures for City, but they always win every game. But they've United, they've Arsenal, they've Liverpool in the next couple of weeks, all in the month of March. Anyways, mix that with Champions League, FA Cup as well. They could be,
it's in the getting to the business end of the season where where it's every game is a title winning game nearly. It's very exciting.
I'd like to see Bournemouth win, but I think City would probably, like Adam said, just take it on late on and just get a couple of goals. Probably 4-1 Man City. Next up to the Emirates, Arsenal at home to Newcastle. I should start with you here. We've seen obviously Arsenal the last 2 games in the Premier League scored 11 goals away from home. We've seen them go to Porto just today, Wednesday, lost 1-0. They had 7 shots in total, none on target. Bad day at the office today, but I don't think that would dent their confidence too much. Back at home against kind of out of sorts Newcastle team, and they'll be looking for revenge after what happened at St. James's Park the last time.
I was just going to say, I think I'd be very sorry if I was Newcastle team going into the Emirates after what happened tonight, especially. But just the current league form, to score 11 away goals. I know one of them, 5 against Burnley doesn't say much, but they still had to go and do it. 6 against West Ham. That to me that could have been 12. That was a
Yeah, yeah.
crazy game to watch. Newcastle, they pissed me off a bit this season, especially Eddie Howe.
Definitely.
So I'm kind of happy that their comeuppance are coming at them, because they got too cocky after that win. Like after all the shit that happened against Arsenal. This is not me defending Arsenal, because I don't give a fuck about G-Cunts either. But they took it too far. They just were rubbing it in every aspect. They rubbed it in all over Twitter, all over this. It was just pain in the arse to listen to. So I just think, given Arsenal's league form and given what happened tonight, I'd be very, if I was Eddie Howe, I'd be shitting a break, and that is no joke.
Rob, obviously touched on Arsenal's ability to score goals. Newcastle haven't kept a clean sheet since the 16th of December in the Premier League. Just the defense. Nick Pope, as much as we talked about him being shite, it just seems the Dubravka is even worse.
He's worse.
The back four just seems to not have that solidarity that they had with Nick Pope at the backs, and they're leaking goals. I see against Luton Town, against Bournemouth as well. They're just leaking goals.
They are leaking goals, but they're still getting the odd result to keep them kind of in there. Like that was a fluke result against. Yeah, they're like that fluke result against Villa. Even though they conceded 4 against Luton, they still scored 4 versus Luton. The draw with Bournemouth over the weekend. They're still just about getting results.
Yeah, Isak is out, and Callum Wilson I think is out as well.
Yeah,
they're missing two. Anthony Gordon had a flash in the pan. He was great. He scored against Arsenal. And then, he was world class for 2 weeks, and then he's kind of fallen off again, like the player he is. Almiron hasn't hit the heights of last season, and whoever's
the whole team does well. I don't expect anything else other than an Arsenal win. I'll be shocked and disappointed if Arsenal don't get the 3 points, because I'm with Usher on this one. Fuck Newcastle. Fuck what they're about. They're throwing their toys out of pram because we're trying to get their sporting director.
That's true.
So they're just not there. Instead of letting us have them, they're just letting nobody have them, including themselves.
Which is very ironic, considering that's what they did to Brighton. It's exactly what they did to Brighton.
Yeah. But Newcastle are in a tough place. But look, if they want to be, party with the big teams, then you have to get used to it. Injuries are part of the game. Simple as. Now, I think this season there's probably more injuries than ever, and that's across all the top
every team. Yeah, it's crazy.
Even especially like Spain as well. Like I know Real and Barca are riddled. But that's part and parcel of it. Johnny said it there about City. You're victims of your own success. The more games you play, the more competitions you're in, the more injuries you're going to get. That's just how it is.
Just how it is. Yeah. Johnny, anything to add there? Yeah, obviously, for myself, anyways, I kind of liked Newcastle of last season, but now, since that game against Arsenal, they were just fucking. I just kind of hate the way their attitude towards, the way they play a lot of games. They're very they always feel hard done by every game. If things don't go their way, crying, throwing, like Rob said, throwing toys out of the pram kind of stuff.
Look, I think Arsenal are hitting form at the right time, so it's a perfect game for them, I suppose. And it's kind of a big game. Newcastle are chirping away like a big team, but proving nothing. I think last season showed to be a fluke, to be honest, that they got into top 4. It is a poor squad. The way they're talking, the way they're trying to act. That's why it kills them, I think, for what's happening with Ashworth. I think it's why this day went on like they did against Arsenal after the win, because they didn't expect to win the game, because, so they have a long way to go. They think they could just skip the queue and become a big team overnight, or a big club overnight and challenge. That's not how the game works. On the other hand, then you have Arsenal, who are coming back, who over the Christmas period, we all thought they faltered quite a bit. And the form, they're really kicking in the form now, especially as you see maybe Liverpool and maybe City not playing so good. Arsenal really kicking in hard now, so I do see Arsenal putting right what happened tonight. And look, not to have a knock at Arsenal over the years, but they've never done fantastically well in the Champions League anyway. I don't mean it as a dig. I mean it as, okay, well, this doesn't have to derail the rest of the season for them. They can use it as, okay, good thing Newcastle are coming to town now at the weekend, because he's put a bit manners on them after the last time.
Yeah. Adam, real quickly now for Newcastle, just lastly now, what's the goal for them for the end of the season? They're still in that little weird patch of 11th to 6th or 7th in the hunt for European places, but can they really keep pace with that group? And I guess, because you look at teams like Chelsea and Wolves, whose form has been kind of hit or miss, but Brighton, West Ham are still there, United are still there, and without that, 5th place for Champions League, it might be tough for them to get a, even Conference League.
I think Europa League would be their best case scenario this season. I mean, United are in 6th now, but I think one of them, Tottenham or Villa, are probably the gap between 6th and everyone else is starting to get a lot bigger now. So I think for Newcastle, it's just to be best of the rest. They've had such a bad, they haven't had a bad season, all things considered. They're just on a really rough patch. I think they just overestimated how good they are this season because of last season. Yeah, then again, I'd say if they don't finish in the Europa League, they'll probably be calling for Howe's head. But then again, it's easy to call for it when you have billionaire owners and you
can't spend the money.
Yeah,
well, that's it. They need at least Europa League for the TV rights.
They have to, stuff like that. And Europa League's good for Newcastle. They got lucky.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, give it a good go. Yeah,
they got given a bad group, but fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Rob, predictions. So Arsenal versus Newcastle.
God, 4-0 Arsenal.
4-0. Oisin.
I hate to say this, but yeah, I hope fucking Arsenal hammer them. I couldn't care what the score is. 7-0 for all I give a shit. No, 3-0.
3-0.
I love 7-0 Arsenal win 4-5.
Yeah, Johnny.
3-1 Arsenal. I think they'll give away a silly goal and they'll be overall much better though.
Yeah, I think so. Give away a silly goal. I think probably 4-1. I think once we get going and get the confidence back up after today. Yeah, 4-1. I think as well. All right, looking forward to Sunday then at the Molyneux, Wolves versus Sheffield United. Adam, Sheffield United only one win away from home all season. That was against Luton Town 2 weeks ago. It's just, I don't know. I'm sick of talking about Sheffield United because there doesn't seem to be any. Maybe that Luton game was a glimmer of hope for them, but ultimately I still think they're going to go down.
To be honest, I've only ever watched Sheffield once this season. That's how irrelevant they are to probably every single person apart from Sheffield United supporters. And I don't even think they're Sheffield United supporters. They shouldn't be in the Premier League. There's probably better championship teams that probably deserve it. Then again, fair play to them. I know the soul.
Again, fair play to them. Top tier.
Respect.
All right. Finish what you were saying.
Keep going. This isn't
Yeah, they sold someone during the summer that was really important to them, and they couldn't buy. They couldn't.
The guy who went to Marseille. What's his name?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I think they're bigger. The bigger loss to Sheffield was having to keep Ollie McBurney.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Sheffield United. Dog shite. There's actually I thought Luton were going to break the points record. Sheffield probably won't break it, but they're probably just as bad as
they're on 14 points now, I think, isn't it? 14 or no, 13.
So they have been.
I can see them. We talked about that goals conceded record. They're approaching 100, so I think they might break that.
They break. They'll break that. Yeah.
They're just a bad team. There's not
very bad team. Very bad team. Yeah. Yeah, Rob. Wolves at home. They've lost back-to-back home games. We've seen them last week. They went to Tottenham and win 2-1. But this is going to be on paper. I know there's no easy games, but this looks like an easy game.
Yeah, you'd imagine so, and kind of hope so as well. Wolves have been until you're playing them a kind of fan favorite team. There's always a second team that you like down, kind of between bottom side table to mid table. Wolves are definitely that team last year because they were, berated during the summertime.
Yeah.
With lack of transfers going down, that's why Lopetegui left. Gary Neal came in after being wrongly sacked from Bournemouth, and he's showing everyone that he can be a good manager. They're playing good football, unlucky with some losses. I think the last 2 losses was against Brentford and Man United at home.
Yeah.
The United game, fair enough, that was anybody's game. Brentford, then they just didn't show up for it. Brentford played a good game. They played their kind of type of football. They missed chances against Spurs. Spurs also missed a couple themselves, but they're they play fun football, but it does help them to be the counter-attacking team, which this then over the weekend might go against them because Sheffield surely aren't going to be all over them in terms of possession. It's interesting to see Pedro now playing more in the centre because he was brilliant, probably the best right winger in the league until he got injured in what kind of November time, and now he's kind of playing more central because Chan plays out kind of right wing now, doesn't he?
He plays. He's kind of he can play up front. He can play on the left. I think he predominantly plays on the left, but he can
on the left side. But yeah, so it's interesting to see how it goes. But surely it Wolves win and relatively comfortable.
Yeah, right. Score prediction, so
3-0 Wolves. I think they'll walk it.
2-0 Wolves. I don't think they'll hammer them, but I think it'll be very comfortable 2-0.
Ushin.
2-0 Wolves, yeah, I think so too.
Johnny.
3-0 Wolves.
Oh, Sheffield United. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah, like I wanted to get my voice in. I was waiting patiently. Chris Wilder has shown to me that he is absolutely not up to scratch for the Premier League. Everyone thought he was the Messiah way back when, because he was brought back up, and he got fired fairly swiftly after a decent first season. But that was due to the players he had, was actually of a decent caliber. He went down to was an Norwich, showed he was shit. He's back up Sheffield United. Like I wouldn't even surprise me if they lost every game between now and then and he got fired before the end of the season. He's not a good manager. I know he's a Sheffield.
Chris Wilder, that old fella in the pub that tells you that if he could do things his way, every team would win.
Yeah, 100%.
Always
wrong. Just want to say, fuck Chris Wilder, but fair play to him.
Fair play to him.
All right, last game of the game week then, West Ham at home to Brentford. I should start with you real quickly. 6 games, no wins for West Ham. We've seen them get battered. 6-0 against Arsenal, the last home game. A lot of fans are calling for Moyes out, but I was listening today. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to this morning, but they were saying, if Moyes leaves, then that team, they might continue to do well in Europa League, but they will slide down the table again.
Like, who are they going to get realistically?
Yeah,
like, I don't know. Like, understandably,
I don't know.
Well, that's what they're all. Cooper as well is what they're also suggesting.
Oh yeah.
So look, I think they're going through a rough patch, but they're actually going through in some aspects. They're being brought back down to where they kind of rightly deserve to be as terms of a club. Like they have overachieved. They did really well to win the Conference League. There's no denying. They played brilliant throughout that tournament. They did well over the last few seasons. But David Moyes did that to them, like he did with Everton, for getting them a European spot. Overachieved. That's what David Moyes does. You may not like the style of football, but he gets results. He had a great start of the season. Everyone was tipping West Ham to get into the top 4. All of a sudden now, just because they're losing a few games, they all want his head. That's fucking football. Like, they're not an Arsenal, they're not a Liverpool, they're not a Newcastle at this moment in time. That's just where they are. So, I think if this act of David Moyes, it would be criminal, and I hope they go straight to the bottom. Fuck them. If they do that now.
Rob, really quickly on Brentford now. 2 wins in their last 10 away games. Obviously, we talked about the one Wolves, and they narrowly lost to Man City there yesterday, but they're kind of another team that really needs to kind of kick into gear and start pushing up the table because they're going the wrong way.
But for a while they were playing with pretty much no strikers. But now they have Tony back, pretty much firing. I think Visa is just back as well. And them two had a serious partnership last year in the Championship, so they can expect to kind of get back in the goals between them. Definitely brilliant time to play West Ham, regardless of where it is. West Ham just struggling at the moment. I think Brentford, there's still so many worse teams in them. They'll be disappointed to get a bottom half finish, but I think between anywhere above 13 is still fine for them, considering they were, they lost Tony pretty much straight away. They lost Semenyo was from Bournemouth. I know they lost Wisa and their other lad to the African or Mbeumo, Mbeumo, between injury and African Cup of Nations. They had no strikers. They had no proper strikers for a while there. Like, so, there's so much you can do, and apart from that, like, they don't have anyone amazing in their midfield and defense. I know like Jensen is pretty good in midfield, but no real showstoppers. Like, so to miss your 3 best players and they're all attackers, very tough for any team to do that when you have nothing to come through other than that, because they're quite a defensive team. They don't create a lot of chances to play 5-3-2. They are major league counter-attacking team. This West Ham downfall just happens to coincide with Calvin Phillips kind of arriving at the club. Make of that what you will.
He's a fucking
I think he's a shit cunt. He's a shit cunt and always has been a shit cunt. I don't mind breaking my lent now for saying that because he's a league scum. I think then
if he gets brought to the Euros in the back of this West Ham form, I would be absolutely.
It'll be typical. You can put money on it, but the odds will be so high. Just about West Ham fans maybe wanting Graham Potter in. He had a few months to a year at Brighton that I think anyone in charge would have done that with Brighton. The work was done for him, I think. So bringing him in, I think, is a step backwards. Steve Cooper, he's just a confused looking man. I don't think he knows that he's a football manager.
I don't rate him at all.
No, that's a major step backwards if to bring him in.
He's a championship.
Moyes is doing his best. Like West Ham this season were, top 5 teams in the league, and then went straight down to being one of the worst five teams in the league, just to go back up again. They're a yo-yo team this season.
And
they'll be fine. They've a good team. Like they lost a couple of players to the African Cup of Nations as well.
Yeah.
I know Sir Paqueta got injured that time as well. He was balling for them between him, Kouros and Bowen. So then once all of a sudden then you lose Paqueta and Bowen and you bring in shit on Phillips. It's going to be a hard 2 weeks.
That was a brutal transfer.
I
think Calvin Phillips rightly. I think the only, and this is my gospel truth in this, the only team I can see Calvin Phillips going to after the summer is a newly promoted team, because he's making himself look dog shit.
All right, so Oisin, predictions: West Ham versus Brentford.
He's going to say 2-1 West Ham.
I am going to say 2-1 West Ham.
Rob.
They're playing Brentford. 2-2 actually. I'm going to go for 2-2.
Adam.
The good old fashioned 1-1.
Johnny.
2-2.
2-2.
Wait, is that the 4:30 kickoff on Sky Sports Sunday evening?
No, it's on the Monday, I think.
Oh, thank God.
Monday game, yeah. All right, so that's going to do it for us here on the Party Football Podcast. Johnny, Adam, Oisin, and Rob, thank you so much for your input tonight, lads. Do let us know down in the comments your predictions for match week 25 in the Premier League. Also, don't forget to like the content and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out. And also follow us on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as well for all the latest updates and videos. Lads, we'll see you back here for another episode of the Party Football Podcast.